For value study and have a transition, I just actually with ruler and pencil I draw a strip, and it's like long rectangle shape, and I start from the light color and then gradually add more darker tone till here. It should be more straight, but I add a little bit water come out, and it can be with any color. And I'm going to add just burnt umber here, and that's the water. So I grab a little bit drop of water, put somewhere like this, and first of all, before adding the paint, I prefer to damp the paper. So with the wet brush, start apply, make the paper wet, just the part that I would like to add the color and the tone. So it's just add more, and then you can check from a side when it's shiny, so it shows that it's completely wet. And shiny, I mean like this, it shows on the side. Yep, here from different side of the light it shows that it's different from the other part of the paper, so it's wet a little, maybe more, because water can, it depends on the paper that we use. Sometimes it gets dry very fast. After that I put some water and then paint. Try to be light, not very dark. This is a little get dark, so I go another place and add a little water, so something like this, very smooth. It has enough water, and then I'm going to start from one side very gently. Try not to pressure my brush to the paper, so smooth. Try to move the water and paint with very less pressure on whole part of my rectangle shape. And if it's start with very darker tone, we can choose other part as a lightness. So this is smooth, and I really gently with my brush stroke and try to use the side of the brush, not the tip, like this way, and that's easier to cover whole this stripe and then move it like that, not having just brush stroke. And I would do it when wet on wet, so I'm not leave it dry. I move on the other one, which is a little bit darker, this one, and has try to be with less water and more pigment. And I'm going to start from here again, add some darker tone. It already shows that it's darker, and start to move it toward the center, maybe a little more, but again I'm very slowly and gently, try not to pressure to the paper and damage the paper smoothly. But the reason I don't want to have a line to separate, like smoothly move together, when I'm happy with this size, I'm happy with this. So clean the brush and then wipe it with napkin, so my brush doesn't have any water. Very smoothly try to come from this lighter tone, move to the darker tone, like that, very slowly and gently with very less pressure, so we disappear this line. And still wet. Again I move on with more brown color and less water this time again, so you can see it's not really watery, it is with more pigment. Again back to this top part of the stripe and then come lower. If we add a lots of water, some buckle creates. I don't like to have that so far. and back and forth with less pressure to have very less water in some part, and come a little lower. Okay, and if I leave it like that, so it get a line in between. So I clean my brush, clean and wipe it with napkin. From the lighter tone, try very gently move to the darker tone and disappear this hard edge, and that's it. So it's very lightly move into each other. And again, back to more pigment. Very less water this time. It's dry now. Just a little, I can use the water from the other color. So then I'm coming again on top, and every time I apply the paint it gets darker and darker because I have very less water in my paint and more pigment. That's make my color be more thick and dark. And then I stopped here. Again, wash my brush like this, wipe it with napkin. I don't need to have paint in my brush, and try to disappear this hard edge. So smooth, very gently try to disappear. From lighter tone move to the darker tone and push this color away. Sometimes we need to back and touch the napkin. And like this. So start from hard color, from darker tone, then move gradually to the light tone, and then leave it to completely get dry. We can try it with other color as well, something like that. And you can see here is the line create, still wet, so I clean my brush. I can disappear that too. No paint and no water we need, very smoothly, just with less pressure, like touching baby face, like that. Skin tone, try to disappear this hard edge. And really depend on the paper that we use. Some paper smoothly they can make this transition very nice. Some paper no. I have one practice here with what kind of, this is a Fabriano paper, and it's not same as this paper. This is other kind of, I will show you what's the name, but if you see, it is nice in transition, but because of the paper still we can see some movement of the water. And so that's Fontaine. This is this paper, Fontaine paper, and it's 300 grams. So if I bring it closer, maybe easier to see. Here is more smooth. This is better, but for this one I should a little bit disappear those. There is one more thing, we can let it completely dry and again back on it and just fix this hard edge, but it's not same as just like a line. We can very touch brush, tip of the brush, disappear those a little bit, and that's it. I can practice one other here too. Okay, now I would try with other color like Payne's Gray. This one was burnt umber, and now I would try with gray color that have some like a black to light gray. Okay, so again with clean water and brush, try to make the surface. I would like to add this transition of or value study between light and dark, so try to make this surface wet. better not come out of the line because the water can move out. Like this edge is not really clean. So I apply with more amount of water, and if you look from a side, it is shiny, so it looks everywhere is wet. A little more. And then we need to come to our paint. First I add more drop of water somewhere like to the center, and then add the water. I would like to have light tone, so with more amount of water you can make the paint more light, and we already wet the paper too, so that's enough to use very smooth surface. So a little gently try to add some drop of water here, and then if it's a lot, because this is dark, so I can wash the brush, touch napkin, and then move this gray color to the end of this rectangle shape. So then move, try to use the side of brush, not the tip, because when you use a lot the tip of brush, that help you make the line in between. So the side is, or whole hair of brush is easier to cover the bigger surface and not make any line in between. Okay, and then when you're happy with this light part, then we can apply for another darker tone. So again, a little bit paint into your mixture of water and paint, so it's already get a little darker. And then we are coming here to apply very smooth and gently a little touch this paper with the darker color, and then apply to move it toward the center with whole hair of brush. Take it from a side like that, not like this. When you take the brush like this from a side, you can use whole the hair of brush. That's easier to control the amount of water, and then even control not to draw lots of line in between. So please bring it a little lower. And now when we leave it like that, it's already line create. So I wash the brush, clean it with napkin. There is no water in it here. So smoothly from light tone, I'm coming to the dark tone. Just a little bit more, very less pressure in my hand, and then disappear this hard edge. I don't let it dry. Again, back to more paint. Put into the mixture of water and paint. If you need, you can add a drop of water, just a little bit, because we need to make darker tone, and every time we apply to have a darker color, we need to have less water and more pigment to make dark colors. And then again repeat this transition to the bottom part, and you can see it's really dark now. I don't want to leave it like that. Again, wash the brush, touch napkin to wipe it, and start from lighter tone, move to dark tone, or even back and forth. Sometimes when it's dark, you can do back and forth and let it melt into each other, disappear hard edge. Like this. And I do very less pressure in my hand, because if I add the pressure, I lift up the paint, so prefer not to pressure. Okay, and then again back to make darker tone less water, more pigment. And again start apply here on top, and every time my color move to darker tone, even I can use a little bit just the pure paint if I need, not mixture of paint and water. So with pure paint I'm coming a little lower, and now again I would like to disappear this hard edge. So clean my brush, wipe it with napkin, and try to back and forth scumbling the colors like this, and disappear hard edge in between. You can feel if it's hard to let them blend together, you can leave it get dry, and after that apply again. Make all this stripe wet, and just fix the part that you need to let it move and smoothly. This is one technique that we work wet on wet. So the other things we can do is wet on dry. This is dry one. So if I would apply with dry wet on dry surface, so I try to use the thick paint first, maybe a little water like that. So I start with darker color here, that's really darker color, and then finish the part that I would like to have as a darkness. And now I don't let it dry completely, so I clean the brush, use the napkin, and try to wet this part. And move it a little bit lower. Like that. And again use drop of water to my brush, touch the napkin. I don't need a lots of water to have. Try to blend again. If you have not enough water, if you have lots of water, then line creates. So always you need to touch the napkin. And then again back to your color, and this part to disappear, because the amount of water is really important. And again wash the brush, touch the napkin, try to, every time you apply, try to make it lighter, lighter and lighter. And I try to use whole the hair of brush, not just the tip of brush. And then again apply more brush, more water. Again apply more water, clean the brush. And this time we need to be really transparent and light with very less paint, and just try to add more water to our stripe. So, but for this one is a little bit challenging because I add lots of water here, so this line create, I need to wait get completely dry and then fix this shape. But this technique is easier because you first wet all this rectangle shape and apply with lighter tone and gradually add the darker color on top. But we can apply after it get dry again on top, and then a little bit touch this hard edge to disappear, but that depends on the paper we use. So it's better to use the thicker paper with more grams, or and that's cold press. Cold press is easier to work than hot press, because hot press is so smooth, and all this stain that we make is visible on it. So hopefully this kind of practice be helpful.